Islam is in the news a lot. This leads us to drastically overestimate the number of Muslims actually living in our countries. These are the 10 nations whose peoples perceive there to be many more followers of Islam living among them than there actually are. The Netherlands comes in 10th on this list. Most Dutch Muslims live in cities like Rotterdam and Amsterdam. The 6% actual rate explains why the average guess of 19% wasn't terrible, but was still an overshoot of 3.2 times the actual number. Indians think that twice as many Muslims live in their country as actually do. It makes sense that India has the highest rate of people practicing Islam on this list with 14%, considering it shares a border with Pakistan, a country with 100 million Muslims. Perhaps Canadians greatly overestimate their Muslim population because it's doubled every decade for the last 40 years, or perhaps it's because of Canada's proximity to Islam-fearing America. But either way, the average Canuck thinks 5 times more Muslims live in their country than actually do. The exact percentage of Russians who practice Islam is around 10%, so the guess of 1/4 of the population that most Russians make isn't too far from reality. Many Russian Muslims live in the North Caucasus region between the Black and Caspian Seas in the southwest of the country. A guess of 23% for the city of Brussels would be right on. Exactly that proportion of the Belgian capital is Muslim, but the overall national percentage of adherents of the Muslim faith make up just 7% of the population. The largest immigrant group in Belgium are Moroccans. Islam is the largest minority religion in Germany, just like it is in most of Europe. But there's an interesting caveat here. Up to half of the 4.3 million people from the Muslim world living in Germany aren't actually believers in Islam at all, making the fact that the average German thinks 21% of their countrymen are Muslim even more ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, the average American thinks 17% of the US population is Muslim. It's actually less than 1%. Christians outnumber Muslims by more than 70-1 in this country. Of course, you wouldn't know that by watching terrorism-obsessed Fox News, the favorite news channel of President Donald Trump. Italians think there are more than 4 times as many Muslims in Italy as there actually are. Wall-to-wall news coverage of refugees arriving by the boatload to the country's southern shores may be behind the significant overestimation. In fact, the 5.5% estimate of actual Muslims may even be a bit high. The average South African thinks their country has 13 times as many Muslims as it actually does. Adherence to Islam did grow by 6-fold in the 13 years up to 2004, but that doesn't come anywhere close to explaining why South Africans are overestimating by more than 20%. France has the largest number of Muslims in Western Europe, with 2 of the 3 deadliest terrorist attacks in French history occurring in 2015. It's understandable that people there would overestimate the number of Muslims. But still, believing more than 30% of France is Muslim when the real number is just 7.5% shows just how powerful fear-driven media is in drastically changing people's perceptions of the world. In case you were wondering, you're from a country like Japan, Australia, or the UK, these are the rest of the countries in the survey. Brazilians are especially bad at estimating. They think 120 times as many Muslims live there than actually do. Now, with US President Donald Trump seemingly determined to go to war with the Muslim world
and unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism, which we will eradicate completely from the face of the earth.
Fear-based ignorance must be met with cold, hard facts. Like this video to help it spread. For TDC, I'm Bryce Plank. Thanks for watching.